So the way this works is we have some power, we build some AI. Then we use that AI to power intelligent robots who build power plants and then build data centers to make more robots. So you can see where this goes, right? Suddenly the robots are making the power plants. Power problem is going to get solved, especially if we get fusion online, which AI can help with. So that economic loop of power generation to data centers, which is just compute, to robots who can have the embodiment of AI to build things for itself. And so it's just going to cycle and cycle and cycle until it's completely autonomous.
Welcome to the golden age. Let the whole world listen. Turn the dial up, elevate. This is our ignition. Take it to the limit. Come and get with it. Welcome to the golden age. Let the whole world listen. Turn the dial up, elevate. This is our ignition. Take it to the limit. Come and get with it. If you're tuned in, you already know the vibe. We're breaking through noise to the edge of the time. Open your mind.
Hello, welcome to the Golden Age. I am Hector. This is a show about what happens to people when AI rewrites the rules of work, creativity, and identity faster than anyone was prepared for. We're not looking for hype or doom here. We're just trying to discuss the issues, find the honest middle, and what to do when the ground starts to shift around you. So let's get into it. This is my co-host.
Hi, I'm Irene, and I am in the field of mental health, and so I study what's going on with society and what's going on with politics and AI, and it's all moving really fast, and it's all very fascinating. Oh, and I do want to address. Okay, so I do want to address the elephant in the room. At least it's the elephant in the room for me. I had promised our last episode that by this week, by our next episode, I was going to have OpenClaw installed. I did not do it. I did not accomplish that goal. And so I am a little bit embarrassed and I feel bad. And I don't know how people do it because I don't have kids and I don't even have pets. And I've just been so busy and I don't know how people who have pets or an animal and children. I don't know how they do it because I could not find the time to sit down for a couple hours to install my open claw and I feel guilty for it. So I just wanted to get that
I
out
wouldn't
there.
feel bad. No, I wouldn't feel bad about it because, well, you've already described yourself as someone that gets really focused. So it might not even be 2 hours. It might have been like 8 hours, and you don't really have 8 hours when you're in the middle of work and life. And I wouldn't feel bad about it. And it's just going to get easier. So
I
it's just,
I mean, I
yeah.
really, I really want to do it. And that was like my goal. Like, I'm going to get it accomplished in 1 week, and I didn't.
Mhm.
But my question for you was if you were to, now that you've done it twice, if you were to help me with mine and I just gave you my laptop, about how long do you think it would take you?
Oh, like from the point that you have the chat set up and you're actually talking to a live LLM, I think I
Yeah. Like,
could do it in 20 minutes.
are you serious?
Depending on how
From,
depending on how fast it will download, because sometimes the downloads are slow. So
uh-huh.
don't count that. Let's say it took 20 minutes to download, and that's probably high, but 20 to 30 minutes to have it the core basic functioning. There's a lot to configure after that fact, but just to get it working, I think I could do it in 20 minutes now.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll have to get together at some point and maybe you can
Yeah,
help me.
we could do that.
That'd be great.
Definitely.
Okay.
I mean, I told you I tried to write a guide to doing it, but I just couldn't. I'll try again because that was a couple weeks ago. I tried to write the guide. I just couldn't get it to where it was going to be really easily understood. There's a lot of people
Yeah.
on Twitter that are doing this, and I just read one 20 minutes ago, and it was a really good guide, but it was still technical, right?
Mhm.
It was like from the
Mhm.
point of view of someone technical who tried it and then realized, oh, if I had just done these things in this order, it would have been much better. And so it's for someone kind of like me, but that's not what I'm trying to reach. I'm trying to find someone like anyone literally do it,
Yeah.
and it's getting closer to that. But yeah, it's possible.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, that'd be great if you could
Yes,
help me so I can get
yeah,
started on the rest of it.
definitely. And yeah, maybe it will take just like an hour to do everything.
That'd be amazing.
And I might actually try it again. I might actually just do it one more time just to see. Now that I've said 20 minutes, I want to see if I can now. Uh, let me give a quick brief preview about what we're going to talk about for the rest of the show. mostly. So here's some stories we're going to talk about this week, as we all know. Or is it now? Yeah, it's still less than a week. So when we attacked Iran, the US military used AI to do this. In fact, at the same time it was banning Anthropic, it was using Anthropic's Claude on the attack on Iran. So there's that going on. At the same time, Claude became number one on the App Store because I guess people thought that Anthropic was taking a stance saying that they didn't want their AI being used for autonomous killing. Because that's interesting. We can talk about that. And I wanted to talk a little about what's called the innermost loop. And that's the loop of what the economy is going to be in the future. And we've addressed it before, but I want to address the entire cycle of it. And then I want to talk about cloning myself and how I'm going my digital clone, my avatar. And then I wrote another book. I finished it today.
Wow.
So this
Oh,
one's a
I'm so jealous.
different kind of book. This one's a business book and organizational book, but still, it's another 80,000 word, really big, really intense book. Yeah. And so every week gets stranger, weirder, and more amazing. But that's what I was going to talk about today. But let's get into the what I'm calling the innermost loop. And that's a term that I'm stealing from a couple of gentlemen on the podcast Moonshots. In fact, they wrote a paper about it. They called the paper Solve Everything. But they talk about the innermost loop on how our economy, and we've talked about this before, is going from labor based, services based, raw materials based to something different. And the what the different is that we're going to switch to an energy, AI, and robotics based economy. And why it's a loop is you got to have the energy before you do AI. And we don't have enough energy to build all the power, build all the data centers that we're trying to build. We're trying to build, I think it's over $300 billion of data centers just this year. And that number is probably going to go up.
And that's just in
And
the US?
that's just in the US. And that's $300 billion of data center is about the power usage of, let's say, like a medium sized country. Like, what's a medium sized European country? Like Switzerland. Like, we're gonna bring up enough data centers that could power Switzerland from the energy they use. So that's pretty significant. So we're going to be constrained by power. So the way this works is we have some power, we build some AI. Then we use the AI to power intelligent robots who build power plants and then build data centers to make more robots. So you can see where this goes, right? Suddenly the robots are making the power plants. Power problems going to get solved, especially if we get fusion online, which AI can help with. So that economic loop of power generation to data centers, which is just compute, to robots who can have the embodiment of AI to build things for itself. And so it's just going to cycle and cycle and cycle until it's completely autonomous. And that includes like mining for materials to build the data centers. And all that can happen without people. And I think it's going to happen. Well, part of it's already there, right? It's the first part of that loop is already here. And there's plenty of robots deployed in manufacturing. BMW is full of robots in Europe. We have robots now on the street with Waymos and cyber taxis. And then all we need is robots that can, you know, have hands and use human tools to build things. So this is something that's being predicted, but I don't even think it's much of a prediction. It's just a matter of when and a matter of how fast we can iterate and get there. So that was an idea I wanted to put out there and get in people's minds because you're gonna start seeing it. And the good news about this is that it might actually extend the amount of time that we need people to do these things because we have to build up the infrastructure to support that autonomous innermost loop. And I think that will take some time. I don't think it's going to go very, very fast. We can replace white collar jobs much faster than we can replace welders, electricians, construction workers. And we have to have those people to build the infrastructure to get to those robots. Then we can worry about what to do without human labor.
What about, have you heard about the shortage of water that they're predicting because of how much water it takes to cool down these machines? I'm not even sure I understand what needs to be cooled down, but have you heard about that? That we're in the future, they're
Yeah.
predicting water wars?
Yeah, I could talk about this. And this is one of those things that's it's not just the water, but because they're building these massive buildings, bigger than any warehouse. I mean, these are going to be the largest buildings on Earth, right? But there's
that are
a
gonna hold they're gonna
just rows and rows and rows of what are called racks, and then those racks are computers, or sometimes the rack is the computer. There's rows and rows and rows. Uh, there'll be hundreds of thousands of GPUs in a single building, which is going to take a lot of power. Which in the case of XAI, what Elon had to do in Memphis is he had to bring in gas generators. So the community is like, wait a second, you're just bringing in thousands of gas generators that is cranking out pollution. So they're complaining about the pollution. So these GPUs, I think one GPU uses 750 watts continuously. So that 750 watts makes a lot of heat. And so the way they dissipate the heat is through liquid. So they have liquid cooled GPUs. And in this case, water is the best way to go. So there is a lot of water being used. However, it's all recycled water. So the idea that there's a
mm,
water problem is a bit of a myth. You do lose some, obviously, in the process, like a couple of percent every so often. But essentially, it's not a huge water drain after the first initial, ingest of water.
mm.
So, but I think people are sensitive. If the thing is coming into their town, they hear about the pollution, they hear about the water, they hear about, whatever else, maybe electromagnetic waves. I know people are concerned about that. And really,
Mhm.
this comes down to the NIMBY problem, like not in my backyard. Go build it
Mm.
somewhere else. But there's limitations on where we can build these things right now because of zoning, because of available nearby energy, um, and cost, because you still got to buy the land. So that's the problem with the resources and the story about the water.
Okay, so it can be recycled over and over and over. Can
Hmm.
it be ocean water? Can it be salt water?
I don't think so. My guess is no, because it's more corrosive, the salt water.
Mm.
So yeah, it would have to be fresh water or desalinated water, which is another power consumption problem.
Mhm.
But this is a temporary problem because the end goal now, the new end goal, is to get data centers in space and do all the bulk of what we need to do, um, in orbit and beyond. That's more of a 10-year cycle, but we just need to get through this hump of building data centers here. But it's going to be a significant percentage of the gross national product building these data centers out in the AI market. And it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger until this innermost loop occupies. I think the end game is this innermost loop occupies 99% of the economic output, or close to it. What else do I have on that?
And just so I understand, how is the water being used to cool these machines down? Like, I mean, is it splashed on top of them? Like how?
So there's a pipe that goes to the
Uh-huh.
chip, and the pipe goes into a heat sink. So the best heat sink is just to put something on something that's hot, so that the temperature can dissipate through the cooler thing. Right? There's a hot thing, there's a cooler thing. Then naturally, the cooler thing will absorb the excess heat. Well, then where does that go? Well, that goes into the water that's passing through the heat sink. The
Okay.
water will pull, since the water is even cooler than that, everything, water will absorb the heat and then send it down the pipe, and it goes outside, and it naturally cools off because it goes into a cooler environment that's not 750 watts of heat.
I
Uh,
see.
so, so that's how the water works.
Okay.
In
It's
fact,
not being
I have my PC right here is not water cooled, but it's fluid cooled on my GPU.
really a
Mhm.
fluid cooled computer?
Yeah,
And it just recycles around inside your
it's like probably like 10 ounces of fluid just
That's really
recycles
cool.
through. Yeah, and it
I've never
goes.
seen a
This one
computer like
doesn't.
that.
This one uses a radiator, so the liquid goes up to the radiator. It's like a car, right? And there's a fan underneath the radiator, and the fan blows through the fins of the radiator like an automobile, and then the cool down liquid comes back down to the GPU, and it just cycles.
How like, because
It's
I've
a gamer thing.
got it, so it's a gamer
Yeah,
computer, that's why it has that
yeah,
okay, okay. Because I was gonna
yeah.
say I've never seen a computer like that before, so you have to be it's a gamer computer, okay.
Yeah, go. You can go to Best Buy and then go to the
They'll
computer
have them
section,
there.
and you'll see. You'll know it's a gamer computer because it has LEDs on it and it's just bright and fancy. But then
I've
if you
seen
look
those.
carefully at yeah,
They
if you
have
look
they
carefully
have
inside, because a lot of them now have windows or just
they're
glass. You
see-through.
look
Yeah.
they're see-through. You look carefully inside, you're gonna see a long, like, card-looking thing about yay big, and sometimes you'll notice that there's a pipe leading to it, or tube leading to it, and a tube leading away from it, and that's the liquid-cooled,
Okay.
computer. Very
Learn
popular.
something new every day.
It's not a new idea, but it didn't have a lot of applications until the GPUs came along because they're so hot, and
Mhm.
to cool with air is just too loud to have in your bedroom.
And what is a GP what does
Graphical processing unit.
okay.
Yeah. So like a CPU, this is a that's a this is a GPU. It's for graphics. And so the GPU is to be a companion to the CPU to play games, honestly, to render high resolution games. And what
Mhm.
happened, I don't know how long ago this was, like 6, 7 years ago, someone figured out that a lot of this AI compute works much better on a GPU just by chance than it does in a CPU. And so now, essentially, in these big data centers, they're running thousands, hundreds of thousands of what are really gamer cards that were the architecture is repurposed and enhanced for AI inference and compute. So if it wasn't for gaming, this would have taken a different path. NVIDIA, this big company that everyone knows about now, this $4 trillion company, started as a gaming company. So we can all thank gaming and nerds for for AI. It probably still would have happened, but it would have taken a different path. What else? Yeah, I think that's all I had on that subject. It's really interesting to have these people, which I think is really correctly predicting the future, because it doesn't seem obvious until you think about it for a while, and then you're like, oh, of course. Well, this is the reason why companies are investing money in um, a marketplace that doesn't even have an identifiable way to return value, right? Most people don't pay for AI. You and I pay for ChatGPT and maybe Claude. Well, actually, I pay for everything, but that's the minority of people. I think it's like 15% of users, maybe even less, are paying for it.
Less. I just saw a really interesting graph that showed that the majority of people are not even using AI, and then a very small percentage are, and then an even smaller percentage of people have a paid version of AI, but it's such a small percentage, and it was just kind of
Yeah.
encouraging people to, you're not far behind because it's just such a small percentage of people that actually are using paid. I thought that was really interesting.
I think I know that chart. I think I'll bring it up in the post editing. Is it the chart that had a bunch of white squares and then
Yes,
green squares and yellow squares and it had one little
squares.
red square? Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah. Okay. That would be a good one to show. Yeah. Right. So then worldwide, it's a very small percentage actually paying for it. The consumer model's not there to pay for hundreds of billions of dollars in investment. And the other side of it, the corporate market, it's growing, but it's still not sufficient. Yet people are spending this investment because they figured this out. This is where we're headed. They want to get on early. Yeah, that's how you make money. You get in early, and then that's the hope. So this people have talked about how this is a bubble. It looks like a bubble. If you've lived through like the dot com in the late '90s and the dot bomb when everything crashed, this looks very similar. It looks a little similar to the banking crisis and the housing crisis, from almost 20 years ago now. But I don't think it is, and I think most of the people
Yeah.
that are into this don't think it is. Well, and we would not be doing this podcast if we thought it was a bubble too, right? Because it's kind of we're preparing for it, and I think it's a matter of when. And I wanted to start this because I think it's soon. Others think it's later, but it doesn't really matter if it's sooner or later. Better to prepare early. I hope it's a little bit later, actually. So, anything else on that?
No, I think I'm interested in hearing what you have to say about Iran and AI. I wasn't
Oh yeah,
aware. I'm sure they use AI to some degree, but I'm curious to hear
let's skip to that
exactly.
one. Yeah, let's skip to that one. So this is a complicated story because several things happened at once involving the Department of War, AI, OpenAI, XAI, and Anthropic. This actually started on February 25th. And we have talked about this before, how I prefer Anthropic because right now it's the better model, but it's also the model that um, has ethics, seemingly. They have a constitution. They're concerned about alignment. The alignment problem is if the AI aligns with our values, and just seem to be more interested in the human side of AI. So they had a 2023 commitment they made related to this about, they called the responsible scaling policy, in which they promised never to train or release AI models unless it could guarantee adequate safety mitigations in advance. Okay. Sounds good, right? Sounds reasonable. No one else was making that claim. Well, on February 25th of this year, they dropped that claim. And they said, here's a quote from the chief science officer. He says, "We felt it wouldn't actually help anyone for us to stop training AI models. We didn't really feel with the rapid advance of AI that it made sense for us to make unilateral commitments if competitors were blazing ahead. So basically, everyone else is doing it, so we're going to do it too." So that sets the stage. The same day, and I don't know how this even happened. Defense Secretary Hegseth met with CEO Dario Amodei and delivered an ultimatum: uh, remove the safeguards for military use by Friday or face severe consequences. And the military uses they were referring to is that Anthropic didn't want their model used for mass surveillance of the public, of the US public, and autonomous killing. And
What is
the
autonomous
department,
killing? What does that mean?
the Skynet, Terminator, basically a drone that makes its own decisions on when to pull the trigger.
Wow.
Not human acted, but it's in the battlefield and it has instructions. It has a prompt. And the
Okay.
prompt says, when you see this, kill that. Humans out of the loop completely. And the Department of Defense would not write that into the contract. And so they they were at a standoff. And basically the Pentagon said, okay, well, we're gonna drop the contract with you
Mm-hmm.
and we might designate you. I forgot the designation. Let's see if I had it written down. Yeah, there it is. The designation is a supply chain risk, which is specific because it's usually reserved for foreign adversaries. And if you're defined as a supply chain risk, no military contractor can conduct commercial activity with Anthropic. So we'll limit the ability of Anthropic to do business with thousands of companies. So now they're fighting, right? So it looks like Dario is going to stand his ground. So that was the 27th. That night, Sam Altman with OpenAI steps in and goes, "We'll do it. We'll take it,"
Mm-hmm.
and basically just took the contract the way the Pentagon wanted it. So it just snuck in. At the same time, it was revealed that Elon Musk had already signed a deal with the Pentagon at some undisclosed time. This is prior to all this happening. So now we have Elon in and Sam in and Dario out, all in the same few days. And so now the stage is set for what is revealed next, which was the attack on Iran. And within hours, we figured out that Claude was used in a major air attack. So they used Claude was embedded into the Maven smart system, which intercepts imagery and signals and intelligence for targeting. So basically, what to target.
So
And
Claude was still used even though I thought they didn't go through with a contract.
well, there's no quick way to replace it. Like you may use ChatGPT for one thing and Claude for another, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
they're not swappable. They're not widgets. They're not like building blocks. They're just different kinds of tools.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the way it was set up is that this wasn't just Claude. This was a software system that was using Claude. So you just couldn't unplug Claude and plug in OpenAI. And Dario knew that and conceded that because of national security reasons, they will continue to use Claude until it can be pulled out. So this gets really muddy here, right? Because now,
Wow.
are they using it? They're not using it. How long will they use it? We don't know how long they're going to use it because the attack is still ongoing. I would say at least for the duration of this operation, but it could take months to undo it. We don't know. So at the same time, all this was happening, people started uninstalling ChatGPT
I know. I heard
and
about
stopped
that.
using it. And
Mm-hmm.
Claude became the number one app on the app stores. So people are like, wow, those dirty dogs. They are
Hmm.
punishing a company that's standing their ground.
I thought Claude was already number one, though.
Yeah,
Did it
maybe. I don't
just
know that
become
for
more
I don't know that to be
popular?
sure, but it's this report said it hit number one. Um, and maybe it was only on the App Store, on the Apple App Store. This says Claude search number one in the Apple Store, dethroning ChatGPT.
Mm.
Claude went to 131 at the end of January to the top 20 in February. And last Saturday it hit number one. So maybe on other stores it was already number one. I don't know.
I also heard that OpenClaw is getting banned left and right. Is that true?
But not yeah, well, banned in what sense? What did you hear?
I heard that, well, one Anthropic banned OpenClaw. I thought I heard Gemini banned OpenClaw. Some other AI companies banned OpenClaw.
There is truth to that. They're making it harder to use your OpenClaw. So at first, when this came out, you could use like the subscription that you have. You could use that
The
to
API.
well, no, it's just a little bit different. So API is one way of going, and API you pay per token, basically, per millions of tokens that you use. The other way is to utilize your subscription, your $20 subscription, and you do a method called OAuth, where it just uses your login and password, basically. And so you go from OpenClaw, it opens a web browser, you log into Claude, and then it closes the web browser, passes the credentials to OpenClaw, and then you're in. Well, people were, quote, abusing that subscription model, and the companies don't like it because here's the business model they're using right now. They anticipate that the average user is going to use X amount of technology, right? X amount of tokens. And they price it to where the average person is using less than the cost that they're paying. But if all the users or a spike of users start to use $20 worth every time, they're making no money. So this is like the gym. Okay, going to the gym, right? When you sign a membership, they don't expect you to go every day. At least not everybody. Most people will sign up, they go for a couple of
And
weeks,
then
and they
never
they
go
slack
again.
off. They never go again. That's how
Yeah.
they make their money. But it's called oversubscribing.
Mhm.
You have resources, but you sell to way more people that can use your resources, and you make a lot of money. So that's what they're doing with these models. So it's very profitable until people like me use it all day
Mhm.
long, use it on my OpenClaw, and now I'm one of those customers they hate because I'm using
Yeah.
everything I'm paying for, which is
And
like,
so now it's gonna
well,
cost you thousands of dollars, right, to use the same amount of tokens?
not thousands, but a lot more than 20. And so that's the profit model they're using. Now I've forgotten how this ties back into the story about Anthropic. But yeah, they became number one. Yeah, it was the market started to shift towards Claude away from ChatGPT. But ChatGPT just got a $200 million contract. So both won, right? And I don't know who won more. And who's to say that Anthropic didn't stand their ground because they knew that they would get more business out of the customer. That's a pretty good strategy. But yeah, there's this massive, like, if you're on X and Instagram and Reddit, everyone's like, quit GPT. And in addition, you said they're banning OpenClaw. That's where else I was going to go. A lot of companies are banning it in the sense that please don't bring your OpenClaw to work. Please don't install OpenClaw on your work PC because people were. And companies are like, yeah, don't bring it around our network and don't use our company data with it, which is a reasonable thing, right? Because these things are not as secure as company systems. So
Mhm.
yeah, in a sense, OpenCloud is being banned a couple different ways. Uh, so yeah, that was the last 2 weeks of a lot of real change in the models positioning themselves to what they wanted to be. And I have mixed feelings about Anthropic standing their ground because whether or not you believe in the attack being the right thing for the United States to do, when a company makes something and sells it to another person, I don't want that company to tell that other person what to do with it. It's my decision. And this is the government. Yes, I understand. It's not the person, but if what's a good example? I don't know. If I sell something to the government that like some widget, I guess, and let's say I sell a gun to the government, to the United States government, to the military, and I say, okay, this is a great gun, but you just can't use it against Russia. It doesn't make any sense. So I don't think it's a reasonable way to do business if you're a supplier to the United States. It's not a reasonable business to be a supplier of things and then put restrictions on how it's being used, unless it's like illegal, but that's a whole different thing. I don't know, what do you think?
I think it's interesting. I can, it's AI is just so different than anything else. I can see other things like, hey, I'm going to let you borrow or use this, and it making sense to not be able to restrict it. But
Hmm.
with AI, because of the capacity it has, and we don't even know its limit yet, right? I
Right.
kind of understand what creator might be like, "Hey, I want limits on it." I can ki I understand that because we don't know what its limit at this point. So, I kinda see that point of view of saying, like, "This is what it's gonna be used for if I give this to you, and that's it for now," like, down the road, let's see what it does, and maybe we can expand the permissions of what you're allowed to do with it, but for now,
Hmm.
this is what it's gonna be used for solely. Oh, I think that makes sense when you don't know the limit and it's constantly learning and
Yeah,
it does make
I can
sense
see
to
that
me.
side of it. It makes me think of Oppenheimer. Did you ever see that movie?
No, I didn't. I heard it was really good though.
It's really good. It's a political movie, but the crux of it was this the scientist, that's his first name, but Oppenheimer was basically the project manager for the Manhattan Project that developed the atomic bomb. And there was dozens and dozens of scientists that were really key to doing this, and engineers. So, he's not responsible for it per se, but he was definitely leading it. And he felt great division about doing this and trepidation. And one of the processes in his head was, well, we know the Russians are trying to get this thing. The Germans might get this thing. This is a buildable thing. They're doing the Manhattan Project because they know they can build this. It's a good chance they can build this. And if they don't build it first, what does that mean? Even though it's a terrible, terrible thing, and he knows it's going to change the world, and there's no going back. And so he did it. He did it with those concerns in mind because he knew that it was going to happen anyway, and we might as well try to do it in the best possible way that we can. That's sort of a
Mhm.
similar problem that Dario
Mhm.
Dario made a different choice.
Yeah.
But now the Russians and the Germans might get it, or like in this case, I guess is Elon and Dario. Mm.
Yeah. I have a question. So, here in the US, we're all familiar with ChatGPT, with Claude,
Mhm.
Gemini, Grok. What about I'm assuming they have their own AIs in like China, right? Like they completely
Yes,
different than what we have.
yes, yeah.
Do we know
They
anything about theirs and how they compare to our most popular AIs?
the current thought is they're good,
Uh-huh.
but they're about 6 months behind.
Really?
Yeah.
China is about 6 months behind us?
Yes. And the reason
Hmm.
is, well, we always had the head start, and because the technology is from the United States. But China's smart. China said, hey, well, we want in on this, and did everything they could to get as far as possible. The Chinese government supported companies to do this. But China has a different approach. They use open source models, and they utilize their entire academic powers. So they send their students over here to get PhDs and in computer science and engineering, and they send them back, and then they put them to work building things like this. And so they started really focus on it. But like I said, they use open source, and so everything they do is known. You can see what they're doing. But the good thing about that is more people can participate, right? If it's open source, then thousands and thousands of Chinese citizens can participate and help and contribute. Where in the United States, a couple of years ago, all the big companies, the big frontier labs decided, no, we want to do this in house and we're going to have our own people. Well, that reduces the number of people working. And even if you have brilliant people, that's a danger to compete against a lot more people in the Chinese model. But because it started here and because the brilliant people that invented it are still here and working on it, that gave us a head start. And it's kind of leveled out at about 6 months for now. And we know that the Chinese know they're still behind because they're doing attacks on our models. So a couple of weeks ago, Anthropic said they were doing an attack on Claude. And the way the attack works is they spin up about 1 million people or 1 million robots, and they ask questions to Claude. And it's called distilling because they want to know, if I ask the question, what answer do I get? And based on the answers, they can enhance their models.
Oh, wow.
And so it's kind of a
Interesting.
fight. With
Mm.
distillation is not the same as the actual thing. It's kind of like a shadow version. It's a weaker impression of the real model. So they're
Mm-hmm.
using distillation to keep up, but that means they're about 6 months behind.
Is China our closest like competitor
Yes,
when it comes to AI?
by far, by far.
By far. Okay.
In all of Europe, I think I only know of one company who does AI at a scale that's even comparable, and that's Mistral. And they're not even in the same ballpark as China. And I cannot think of a company outside of that. I can't think of a company in Brazil or Indonesia or
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was gonna ask India about India because they're pretty technologically advanced, aren't
they
they?
are. They are. And I think that's probably the next place for this to
Mm-hmm.
grow. India is a bit of an untapped market for the consumer and for the business side. And in fact, there was a big conference in India last week where almost every single CEO of anything to do with AI showed up
Wow.
from around the world because they know that if you get India, that's going to be a big win.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's a different market. You know, it's a different culture. They have
Yeah.
different I think customer needs. But
Mm-hmm.
they're a highly educated population. You know, they have a strong middle class, and their middle class is bigger than our middle class, right? So big market, and I think it's going to be something we'll hear more and more about. I don't know if they'll
Yeah.
get big AI companies because that's a whole different thing. Is the frontier labs are so much ahead of everyone else right now, and it'd be hard to start a new. When Elon started XAI, people thought it was impossible because how could you start something from scratch when Google's so far ahead? But he did it. So it's
You
doable.
sure did, yeah.
But how many Elons are there in the world to do that? Maybe there's a few. There might be an Indian Elon somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised.
An Indian Elon.
Well, remember we had to import him. He
Where did
was
he
not
come from? Was
South
he
Africa.
South Africa? Okay.
Yeah,
We imported him.
we had to import that guy. So can't say he was a product of the good old United States. Although I mean he came as a kid, so he is a product of the United States.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so I know we only have a little bit left because I have to go in a little bit. Even though I
Okay,
don't have kids or pets or anything like that, I still have
you
so
still have
much
a
stuff to
life.
do. But I did want to hear about your book, and I did want to hear
Yeah,
about your avatar. I'm
yeah.
very
So
interested in those two
let's
things.
see what
So
should we do
let's talk about
first. I
that.
think the avatar is easy. There's not a lot to talk about. It's just the fact that we mentioned a few podcasts ago that I think this is going to be the year of the avatar.
Yeah.
Little did I know how far along people were because then we saw the AI Scott Adams.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've been noticing that a lot of podcasters are, instead of doing what we're doing, they just have digital avatar and just give it a script. And I didn't realize this and how good it was until I caught one. And I thought, oh my God, this guy is not doing this himself. So it can cost a little bit of money, but I found the cheapest way of doing it.
Okay. And how
And I
much
was
did
going
it
to
cost?
I was going to let people know, and I'm going to challenge you to do it.
Okay.
And
Challenge accepted.
you'll have so much fun. You'll have so much fun. You may want to even do it before you finish your open claw.
Oh, I don't need
Um,
my open claw to do it?
no, this one you could use it. Actually, you could use it because the companies I use have APIs, so you could have the open claw direct it, but that's not as fun because you have to set it up that way. This is the fun way of doing it. So I recommend everyone do this. It takes 2 subscriptions. One costs 29, one costs 22 a
A
month.
month?
A month. So first thing you do is you go to 11 Labs. And I don't know the extension. I don't know if it's .io or .ai, but just Google 11 Labs.
Yeah, it's pretty popular.
Spell out the number
11
11.
labs. Yeah.
Find the professional. Okay, sign up for the not the basic, the second tier,
Okay.
the $22 tier. I don't know if it's the first or second tier. There might be a cheaper tier. The $22 tier, and do the professional voice cloning. Now, the way you do this is you find a quiet room with no distractions, no beeps, turn your phone off, get a mic like this, like we have. So get a good mic. Don't use your webcam mic and talk. Talk for I would talk for at least 5 minutes, if not almost 10.
It doesn't
And
give you a
then
script, you just say whatever?
it doesn't give you a script. You say whatever.
Okay.
So what I would do is I would record 5 different things. So like 5 different 8-minute things. One, just read. One, have AI write you a script. Actually, you know what? Go to AI and say, I need 5 different scripts to train 11 labs. That's what you should do.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
perfect.
want those scripts to have varying tones,
Emotions.
emotions,
Yeah.
excitement, seriousness, philosophical, and joyful. And then read those scripts off. You may want to practice it, but read those scripts off. Record it with a nice mic. Windows and Mac has a built-in sound recorder. Just type in sound or voice, and you'll find it. And then you take those 5 files, you go to the voice clone, you upload it. And then it takes all those files and makes a master version of your voice. And after it's done, you can tune it to be more effusive. Is that the word? Um, more excitable, slower, faster. And you can tune it. And then you get an API from 11 Labs. Or don't write that down, copy it. Then you go to HeyGen. Have you heard of HeyGen?
No. How do you
Okay,
spell
so
that?
HeyGen.
Okay.
And the HeyGen, you want to sign up for the $20 to $29 a month plan. I think it's called Creator plan.
Okay.
And HeyGen can do both. HeyGen can do an avatar all on its own. You just take your webcam, you record yourself, and then it'll clone both your voice and your video. HeyGen's really good at the video. It's okay at the voice.
So that's why you
So
will say use
uh,
11 laps for the voice.
right. Because
Okay.
11 Labs has been doing this for a long time, and HeyGen's like, we better include it too, so we don't. They want to get all your business.
Hmm.
Then you make an avatar. So you just do it. You can do one training video, and I would do at least a 10-minute video. And then that one, I would write a script, have AI write you a script where in that 10-minute video, you do all those things. Use your hands if you use your hands to talk, but like talk for like a minute excitedly, talk for a minute passionately, talk for a minute. Let the AI write the script and do like a 10-minute video and then upload that. And then it'll make you an avatar.
Wow.
There's 2 kinds of avatars. They've been doing this for a while. They have Avatar 3 and Avatar 4. Avatar 3 is free, not free. It's included with your $29 subscription. And Avatar 4 costs you credits, so you don't get that many minutes of it. They want to upsell you to Avatar 4, but Avatar 4 is pretty good. So you do that. You find a place where you can plug in your API key from 11 Labs, and then you say, I want to do a video. I want to do a text to speech video. Here's the script I want my avatar to say. I want you to use Avatar 3, and I want you to use this voice from 11 Labs. That's it. You're done.
That's amazing. Now, what's the difference between 3 and 4? Is 4 just more realistic looking, or
It
what's
did
the
look.
difference?
It did look be more expressive, I think.
Okay, so you're paying
So
more in order to be more expressive as opposed to robotic.
I'm gonna guess that the podcast I noticed, his name is Nate. I can't remember his last name. But he does a lot of AI podcasts, and I've been following him for a while. And I noticed his was there's something off about it. I think he's using 4,
Okay, and
but that means
did
he's
you
probably
use
paying. I
Sorry, go
use
ahead.
3. Yeah, I use
Okay.
3, and I think I will stay with 3 because 4 is gonna cost you probably a couple $100 a month to use.
Oh, wow, it jumps up that much?
It jumps up that much, and it's not worth it. I'm just gonna wait till 4 becomes free and or included, and 5 is out.
Yeah,
And
it's
yeah,
amazing.
it is amazing. Yeah, yeah, please
Yeah.
try it. Anyone that's listening, it's just a hoot. Just do it for the month, just because it's worth the $50 to do it.
You're gonna
So
post it, right? You're gonna post the video?
I will post my proof of concept that I sent to you in this podcast.
Perfect.
Here's what nobody tells you about automation replacing your job. It's not the paycheck that keeps you up at night. It's the story you can no longer tell about yourself. I'm an analyst. I'm a project manager. Strip that away and what's left? That's silence. That's not emptiness. That's the first honest moment you've had in years. And from that silence, something new can actually begin. That's what we're exploring on this show.
And then I am going to work on finishing the real one, and then I will create a podcast in our channel with my avatar or my real
That's
avatar. It's
freaking
a real avatar.
amazing. So
Yeah,
you could have it talk, the number 3 version, you could have it talk for 45 minutes if you wanted to for that price, for the $29 a
you can
month?
do like you'd have to splice it. You can do 5-minute. It's like 3 or 5-minute segments.
Got it. Okay.
But that's not hard to splice together.
Yeah, to stitch it
With
together.
like CapCut, whatever you use, just drag and drop
Mhm.
15 files and you're done, right?
Yeah, yeah. Wow,
Yeah,
that's exciting.
it's exciting. So
And it
I
sounds
think
like it's not too difficult. Is it would you say I know that installing OpenClaw is a whole different, thing, but would you say that creating a avatar is a lot easier than installing OpenClaw?
for the layperson, doing OpenClaw without AI helping you is a 10. Doing it with
Difficulty.
AI helping you is I would say an 8.
Yeah.
And for now, and this I would put as a
A
4 or 5.
7? 4 or 5? Okay, so not bad at all.
Not bad at all. Well,
Okay.
if you've ever used anything like this, it's a 4 or 5. I guess if you've never even used anything like this, it would be a 6.
Mhm.
But still,
A lot better than an 8 or a 10.
for you, it's going to be a
So
3,
oh,
I
yay.
think.
Okay. I'm
For
excited.
for my mother, it'll still be a 10, maybe
Right.
11.
Oh, that's
But
funny.
yeah, so that's the clone, and I'll cover the book really quickly.
Okay.
Um, so I mentioned this before. I wrote a paper about the self-aware organization, and I said, "All right, I got the paper done. I'm gonna write a book." And it's honestly a really boring book, but it has a lot of ideas that I do not think are out in the public domain yet. And if I honestly do believe if you were a CEO of a company, you should probably at least skim this. And in fact, the way I wrote it, it has a chapter 0. And it says, if
Oh,
you don't
that's
have
cool.
time to read this book, read chapter 0. And so I have the paper version of this, and I also wrote a 15-minute read version of it. So I have the same information, all different ways to ingest it. And I'll probably even do a video with my avatar about it.
Oh, that's so
Um,
cool.
the basic premise is something I've mentioned at least 2 times now, is that an organization, a company, really has 4 structures. It has capital, money. It has the actual structure of the organization. It has people, and it has what it makes. So capital, structure, people, and product. And these are like, CFO, HR manager, the CEO, and product manager, right? These are just already known roles. We've had them for almost like at least 80 years. But none of those roles know anything about intelligence, not the intelligence we're talking about. So I'm saying there's a 5th domain, and it's going to be intelligence. And that intelligence will be used to make the organization self aware. And self aware means that at any point in time, it knows what it's doing. Because most companies, they wait for quarterly reports or meetings on a weekly cadence, even developers that scrum and huddle every day. These are business terms. Um, that's every day. Imagine if you were up to the second, which is totally possible now. And if you're not headed in this direction as a company, you're toast, a complete toast. So that's the book. That's the idea. And I'll
Okay.
do more versions of this, but 80,000 words.
How much are you
Like
selling it for on Amazon?
I'll do the same. I'll do the same price.
Because I saw you increased it from 7.99 to 9.99, your last book.
Yeah, they capped me at 9.99. I got to figure out
Oh, they
why.
capped you? I was wondering
Yeah,
why you hadn't gone
yeah,
higher.
yeah. So I'll have to look into that. But
Huh.
I'll look into that and sell it for as much as I can sell it for. And this one I might actually try to like put it on paper, but just so I can have it with me, give to people.
Yeah.
I'll buy my own book. It's got like 50 citations.
Oh, that's cool.
It is, yeah, it's well researched actually.
And so it has not been submitted to Amazon yet.
No, I'm still gonna monkey with the formatting. I want to do some diagrams, some
Yeah, I was
manual
okay.
stuff.
I'll
Yeah,
be interested to see if it passes the AI test again, like your other one.
I'm gonna be nervous again. Yeah, yeah, because the other one was much more human. This one's much more academic,
Mhm.
and I could see this one getting flagged a little bit. But I put the same amount of work in terms of my interaction with OpenClaw, so I'm hoping it'll get through.
So you had
Um,
like again like 8 different sub-agents all communicating with each other, writing different chapters.
Different editors. Actually, at one point, I took it out of OpenClaw and copied and pasted it to ChatGPT and Gemini to see what they thought about it. And it
And
gave me some good pointers. And so went back to OpenClaw, and OpenClaw's talking to Claude, right? Claude Sonnet.
uh-huh. Yeah.
And I said, hey, some other people saw these things. And Claude's like, yeah, okay, I agree on that. I disagree on. So I actually went through and said, agreed or disagreed. And the good idea is implemented.
Wow.
It's just like passing, when you're a writer, you pass your manuscript around to your friends and say, what do you think?
Yeah.
And same thing.
Now
So,
we have our
except I
AI
don't have friends.
friends.
I have robots. Yeah.
Yeah, AI friends, AI robots. That's really
Uh,
cool. Congratulations on your second book
my
in
second
like a
book
month.
in like a month. So my next book will be fiction.
Okay.
I'm going to see. I felt fiction's going to be a lot harder, but we'll see.
You think so?
Yeah, because fiction is
That's
all about your voice as a
it's
writer.
imagination. Yeah.
But here's the thing: as a writer, as an English major, every piece of literature does fall into certain categories. Every piece of literature uses a certain strategy, and these strategies and these categories are repeated over and over and over again since before Shakespeare. So there is a formula to writing, but there
Mhm.
is an aspect of creativity and an aspect of the writer's ability to tap into something. That's the magic. How they do it is not the magic. The magic is something else. And that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about where am I going to find the magic? Because it's going to have to come from me. I don't think Claude's going to do it. So if it does, we are in a different place. We are in a special place.
I think it's definitely gonna help with the magic.
Yeah. Well, because it
Yeah.
knows them. It has read all the magic, right?
Yeah.
It's just can it do it? I don't know.
I think it can, but we'll
People will be
see, but I
disappointed if it
think
if
it
it
can.
if it does. People will be really disappointed. I won't, but
I know people
yeah.
are afraid. I have friends who are very creative and they're not fans of AI. But I'm like, it'll just like
Mhm.
what you said, it'll just make you better,
Mhm.
make things easier for you. But yeah.
Look, maybe you're a writer, and the same time you wrote one book, maybe you can write 10, right?
Yep.
S- And I would say the same thing for like even visual arts.
Mhm.
This is going to let you explore ideas in a way that you couldn't before, and maybe it's not for you. I get that. If you grew up doing a certain thing a certain way, it'd be hard to change. Also, it may not be as enjoyable. I don't know. Not all art is about what Andy Warhol cranking out to produce art, right?
Mhm.
Some artists are just about the process of the art. But they don't really care if they make one thing their entire life. They don't really care. So we'll see.
We'll see, but I do think AI is can create magic, so
You're a believer.
I'm a believer. I've been a believer for a very long time.
Well, before you go, why are you a believer? What happened?
What happened to make me a believer?
Yeah, was there something? Is it just you as a person were already primed for this, or something happened, or just
I
some
don't know that
analysis that you made?
I don't think anything has happened, at least not yet. Nothing that's like amazed me. Well, no, actually I have been amazed. I mean, I use AI for work. I do a lot of reports and I mean, it's made my
Does
job
work now?
so much easier. So much easier. And the level of how I'm using it also, when I first started using it, I felt like so limited because I had no idea the AI itself was limitless and how it could be trained, and so I've been using it for a few years now at work, and we're actually
Oh,
encouraged to use it, and my reports are 1,000 times better. I'm writing them so much faster so I could focus on other things.
hmm
And I think I told you I've been, for a while I was making a lot of AI videos and just creating these beautiful, magical visuals
yes, yeah.
and then reading your first book. That was to me amazing. And I think it's one of the best books I've read. And I've read, I like to say I've read a lot of books, but that is a really, really good book. And I just know that AI is just getting better and better and better, and right now there is no limit,
hmm
and yeah, so I do believe that AI can create magic.
But I mean, 3 years ago, you were an early adopter. Then you just
Yeah,
must be curious. You must be a curious person.
yeah. It got
Yeah.
introduced to me. It was it was a friend of mine that mentioned ChatGPT, and I got really interested in it, and then as soon as I started using it, I was like, "This is freaking amazing," and I wanna keep up with it, and I subscribed to several different AI little newsletters that I would get emailed, and now I don't really read them anymore, although I should because I wanna, stay updated. Just reading those, I got really excited. Uh, yeah, and then I started I think I mentioned this the last, episode, day trading, and I was day trading I was so excited about AI, everything that I was day trading was AI related, NVIDIA and
Oh.
all that. But yeah, so I started using ChatGPT really early on, and at first I remember even being a little afraid that I would get in trouble for using it and like
Hmm.
for work or for different things that I'd use it for. Like if anyone finds out that this is not by me, that I use AI to help me, like it was I would I kind of felt like a little scared to reveal that I was using AI, but now we're encouraged to use it at work.
Hmm.
Everyone's jumped on board, at least at where I work. I don't know if it's the same across the board and for the field that I'm in, but definitely where I work, it's definitely being encouraged, and it's making things so much easier and better. So I'm a believer.
That's cool. I don't think it is widely adopted by all white collar work.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think some places, they ban it if they know that you're using it. It's like a big
Mm.
no-no. I
Because you
think
can use it badly, right? You can just be really lazy and just like do the minimal, and then you're not doing much work at all. You know, you use it just like I use it. It's like you just make yourself better. I
mhm.
don't even think I save time. Maybe I do, but
I
it's the
think if we were up creating the same quality of work that AI helps us create, it would definitely be taking me a lot longer to create
oh
that
yeah,
same quality. So it's definitely saving time.
yeah,
Yeah. So in that way, I think it does save time.
yep,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, anything else?
Not now. I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk
All right.
about next
So you
week.
you you got next week. Give me a challenge. But you got two challenges,
Oh my
but you only
gosh.
have to do one
Okay, so either install OpenClaw or do my avatar.
to your avatar.
Okay, and then you want a challenge?
Yeah, give me a challenge.
I want you to start your nonfiction book. I want you to start testing AI to see if that magic is there.
Let's see. Let's see. You know what I did with both these books is I started with something small
Mhm.
and then I made something bigger, and then so maybe I'll try that.
And then also, I would love to see how we could use an avatar. Not that I want to continue doing our podcast, but I'd
Hmm.
love to just see an example of your avatar or my avatar doing a full segment. I mean, could we even do like how we do our podcast now where both our avatars are talking back and forth to each
You
other?
can, but there's a higher tier that
That's
lets you do that.
okay, so that's more
Yeah,
complicated. So for
yeah.
now,
So
it
wait,
would just have to be by ourselves.
which I think that's kind of my goal. I think to have our channel have just more content because it's easy.
Mhm.
Well, you can have your corner and I can have my corner, and maybe people that watch the podcast don't like me. They like you, and they can just watch your corner. But
Yeah.
that's I think it's just why not? There's plenty. There's plenty to talk about.
Well, why not? That is one
Why
of
not?
our remember in the beginning, that was gonna be like
Yes,
our ending. Why not? Question everything because why not? Anything's
give it a
possible.
try. Yes, anything is possible for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, and I'm excited for next week, and let's work on our challenges, and hopefully we'll have some good stories for our
Terrific.
audience.
Welcome
All
to
right.
the
Have a good one.
golden
Bye bye.
age.
All
Let the
right,
whole world
bye.
listen. Turn the dial up, elevate. This is our ignition. Take it to the limit. Come and get with it. Welcome to the golden age. Let the whole world listen. Turn the dial up, elevate. This is our ignition. Take it to the limit. Come and get with it. If you tuned in, you already know the vibe. We're breaking through noise to the edge of the time. Open